Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of NXT Takeover 30. I will also be discussing the Saturday night edition of AEW Dynamite. Both shows very eventful. There's a lot to discuss. Shout out to the chat room. If you guys are tuning in live, please share a link to this video on social media. Tell a friend. Thank you to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. Let's go ahead and get started. This could be a long stream with all the content to go over. NXT 30, the 30th NXT special from Full Sail University. We had a 30-minute kickoff, and the first match, which was on the kickoff, was a triple threat tag team match. Winning team would become the number one contenders for the tag team titles currently held by Imperium. We had Breezango versus One Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Legado del Fantasma. I picked Fantasma to win, but did not happen. They did have a few shining moments in the match. Mendoza hit a Spanish Fly, and then Wild hit a 450, but the pin got broken up by the other participants. And then Tyler Breeze hit a super kick on Lorcan and scored the pinfall victory. Meh. I'm so over Breezango. I would have liked to have seen one of the other teams win. I'm not sold on Breezango as a serious act in WWE, but whatever. It is what it is. Match was fine. Perfectly decent kickoff match. Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat says 5-1 tonight. Still cannot believe that ending. I bombed with my predictions, and I'm now pretty far behind the first place spot on the No DQ Predictions League. Good luck to the people that are at the top now. I think it's close between Kayfabe Candy Ass, who, even though he's on hiatus, he's still part of the Predictions League, and Caitlin's in the running. So is Sun Goshiku, last year's winner. And keep in mind, you guys can also participate in a separate predictions league. Hit up Noah Foster at nfoster1916 on Twitter to join in those predictions for SummerSlam and upcoming shows. But enough of that. Let's get to the main card. Our first match of the main card was Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. Josh Mansfield sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Josh. He says, that's why I always put not Aaron for my answer. Well played there, Josh. Well played. We kicked off the main show with some fire pyro. We had the XXX as the stage for this show. Felt like a smaller scaled version of WrestleMania 30 with the Triple X. Corey Graves replaced Mauro Ranallo on commentary. It was Graves, Vic Joseph, and Beth Phoenix doing commentary. Little bit of a downgrade in my opinion. I'm a big Mauro Ranallo fan. I think he always adds to the shows. Disappointed that he was not on it, but it is what it is. Balor had FXXX on his trunks. Say that 5 times fast. Of course, that means Finn 30. Pretty much what you would expect from these guys. They exchanged submission holds, a lot of mat wrestling. And then things took a turn in the more physical direction with them trading some blows back and forth. Then Balor started favoring his knee. Thatcher was like a shark that smelled blood. He went after Balor's knee, put on a leg submission. Balor managed to get to the bottom rope, and then Balor made a comeback and picked up the victory with the 1916 DDT. Solid match here to open up the show. I enjoyed it, and hopefully Balor moves on to something bigger. We talked about this when we did the predictions. Curtis Butler is like Finn's second match Balor. Balor should be a contender for one of the major championships, whether it's the North American title or, better yet, challenge for the NXT World Championship. If you're going to have him in NXT, you should put him in the big matches. But this was a perfectly fine match between these guys to kick off the main card. Power Packers 90, and I have an idea for the Demon to come in for the title, but we'll talk about that later. Power Packers 90 with the $2 super chat says, that AEW ending, wow, and the Batman trailer. Well, I have no idea what the Batman trailer is about, so could not tell you anything about that. We're here to talk about wrestling, so that's what we're going to do. And I'll definitely talk about the AEW ending, so you guys will have to stay tuned for that. If you don't care about NXT, then maybe take a break for 15, 20 minutes, or just listen. Whatever you want to do, I'm cool with. Let's move on here. Next match was the ladder match to crown a new North American champion. Bronson Reed versus Damian Priest versus Cameron Grimes versus Johnny Gargano versus the internet's favorite wrestler, the Velveteen Dream. Dream came out, I guess this time paying homage to Big Papa Pump with the chain headgear that Steiner always wore for his matches. Did not get a pop from Twitter because a trending hashtag during the evening was Fire Velveteen Dream. The internet is not going to let this go. So yeah. Fun match here, as you would expect from these guys. Lots of high spots with the ladders. Some funny moments too, where Cameron Grimes climbed up 2 ladders at the same time, and that ended up backfiring big time because the 2 ladders got pulled away and he was basically doing the splits. And then later on, the heels, Dream, Gargano, and Grimes worked together for a brief period and tried to take out Priest and Reed. Later on, we had a little bit of a human demolition derby where all 4 competitors in the corner were mangled together with these ladders, and Bronson Reed did this running splash onto everybody. That was cool. They did a Tower of Doom spot with 4 of the guys. And then Damian Priest had an interesting moment. You had Cameron Grimes laying on the mat. He was holding up a ladder, and Priest ran up the ladder and did a dive over the top onto the other participants. Pretty cool spot here. And then Candice LeRae showed up and interfered. She prevented Grimes from climbing the ladder, and then she tried to prevent Bronson Reed from grabbing the title at the top of the ladder. Reed ended up doing a splash off the top of the ladder onto Gargano while Candice was on his back. Pretty spectacular moment here. And then later, Grimes hit a double stomp to Priest, climbed the ladder, but then Gargano powerbombed Grimes onto the ladder bridge below, and really wasn't the prettiest looking sequence because basically you had Grimes landing on the edge of the ladder as he came down. Looked pretty nasty. Mike D with the $2 super chat says, all I have to say is innocent until proven guilty. And of course, he's making a reference to Velveteen Dream. Speaking of Dream, Dream was fighting Gargano on the apron. He did a DVD onto Priest, who was laying on this ladder bridge. Ladder did not break. Dream climbed the ladder, but then Reed pushed Dream off the ladder. Dream stood on the rope, the top rope, and then jumped all the way across over the barricade to the floor. That was nuts. Still not enough to win over Twitter. People still hated him despite that crazy moment. And Brendan with a $5 super chat, he says, liked Bronson Reed's Bam Bam Bigelow tribute. Yeah, Bronson Reed had all these different colors, very colorful, flamey attire for his match. pretty cool stuff there. And then back in the ring, you had Gargano and Grimes climbing up the ladder. Grimes ended up getting knocked off. They were fighting over the title. The title swung in Grimes' face. He fell off, and then Priest climbed up, knocked Gargano off the ladder, and obtained the North American Championship to be crowned the new champion. Damian Priest, your new North American champion. I'm a little surprised. I thought it would go to one of the smaller guys and maybe Priest would be built up towards a world title match. But hey, a lot of people were happy with this outcome. A lot of people predicted him. So there you go. Damian Priest, new champ. Match was really fun. Everybody looked good in it. Mike B with a $3 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike B. He sent in a cat sticker saying, how's it going? Going pretty good, Mike B. No complaints. A lot of people picked Priest, Curtis Butler. Most of the No DQ Predictions League went with him. I did not. I went with Gargano because I'm like, well, where does Gargano go from here? And I still think that's a valid question. I mean, what's next for Gargano? Does he compete for the North American title again? Does he form a tag team with somebody? I mean, I don't know what you do with Gargano now. I really don't. Moving on here, we had Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee. I finally got it right after all this time. I have finally cared enough to pronounce his name correctly. McAfee cut a promo on Cole before the match. Pretty good stuff here from him. A lot of people seem shocked that he can talk, and I've always said he's done a great job on the kickoffs when he was on. He had his crew with him. He was wearing a Cole Sucks t-shirt. Actually, they were wearing a Cole Sucks t-shirt, and he was wearing For the Brand gear on his shirt and on his knee pads. And he was also wearing shorts and a t-shirt, of course. McAfee got some offense early. He was showboating a lot. And when Cole started to get the upper hand, McAfee went to the outside of the ring like a classic heel. He stalled for time. And then we had a confrontation between the two factions, McAfee's people and the UE. We had security come out, and basically all the outsiders had to leave the ringside area. Then we had, as all this chaos was going down with the security trying to separate everybody, McAfee got on the top rope and did this swanton to the outside onto everybody. I actually really like this because most of the time you have it where everybody's just standing there for no good reason. But in this case, it made sense because the security was trying to separate everybody and they were not paying attention really. This was really well done. I liked this a lot. McAfee looked cool doing it. And then McAfee had the upper hand for a while. Then Cole slapped McAfee. They started trading blows, and Cole even pulled down McAfee's shirt like in a hockey fight. Cole kept trying to finish off McAfee, but McAfee kept coming back. He would not stay down. And then they were up on the top. Cole was going to try to do a move off the top, but then McAfee did this backflip, which looked really impressive. And then McAfee gained control again. He went for a punt on the outside, but he missed and hit the steel steps. The veteran Adam Cole used this to his advantage. He went after the injured leg, put on the figure four. McAfee escaped and then hit a low kick when the referee wasn't looking. Hit the punt kick, which is different from Oren's. He goes more for like the upper part of the chest area. Cole kicked out of it, though. He kicked out of the punt. Ken terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat says, are you surprised that McAfee's performance was pretty solid? Pat's athleticism was shades of Shelton Benjamin in his prime, Rift. Well, Ken, did you watch and listen to our predictions? I'm pretty sure I said that this match would be surprisingly good and people would be surprised. I was not surprised because I expected them to pull off a good match. I told everybody this is going to be better than the Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam Bigelow match. And it was. It was a pretty damn good match for his first match in WWE on a pay-per-view. McAfee did really well. He held his own. They laid out the match very well to make him look good and hide whatever weaknesses he has. They played to his strengths. Very well laid out match. And McAfee then jumped off the top rope, but he got hit with a super kick, and Adam Cole finished him off with the Panama Sunrise to score the 1-2-3 victory. Really good match between these guys. I very much enjoyed it, and I don't think it hurt McAfee at all to lose this. I am a little disappointed we didn't get some kind of swerve and breakup of the UE, but hey, maybe they'll go to the main roster at some point as a group. I still think they got to do something with Undisputed Era. Like, you got to change it up. They've been in NXT now as a group for what, 3 years now, 4 years? I'm not even sure how long it's been, but it's been several years, and you know, I do think it's getting a little bit stale, and they gotta do something different with these guys. Either a breakup or they go to the main roster. But thumbs up here for this one. Next up, we had the women's title match. Io Shirai defending against Dakota Kai. And TJS with a $2 super chat says, 5-0, baby. Karrion Kross has some very white and clean teeth. Yeah, that he does, TJS. And thank you for the super chat. We had Drew McIntyre before this match make a special appearance, interviewed by the commentators, talked about SummerSlam. Kai dominated the early part of the match, wore down Shirai with some ground submissions. Shirai would come back at times, but then Kai would regain control. And then Kai started kicking Shirai repeatedly, as she said she was going to do in her promo. And Ken terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat. I should just give him the championship and make him the permanent super chat champion. Although I'm pretty sure Adrian, with combined super chats, has taken the top spot as far as most super chats go. Ken is up there. Ken with the $5 super chat says, "Oh my God, Michael, you were awesome. You left me speechless. Big G, eat your heart out. LOL." Yeah, there you go, Big G. You have been outdone. Michael is the new big baller of the No DQ Galaxy for the time being. I should just rename the Super Chat title to the Michael Championship. We're going to do that now. It's now the Michael Championship. Josh Mansfield says Michael needs his own shirt now in the Super Chat title. That is very true. All right, let's get back to the recap. I'm sure everybody's, thrilled about it, but we got to move on here with the recap. So anyways, back to the match. Shirai, after several moments of back and forth action, Shirai managed to make another comeback. Shirai, I'm a little flabbergasted here, guys, so let me get back into the zone here. Dakota Kai tried to put her away with an armbar submission. Shirai got to the rope, and then Kai went for a pinfall attempt. Shirai once again got her foot on the rope. And then there was a ref bump. I keep saying Shy, trying to say Kai. Kai accidentally knocked the referee down with a kick. And at this point, what's interesting about this match is I thought this was the most predictable match, and this was one of the only matches I got correct, actually. But I figured there was no chance Kai was winning the title. But they did this ref bump here, and I started to think maybe we were going to get a title change. Shirai hit the moonsault, but the referee was down, could not make the count. Raquel Gonzalez, the bodyguard of Kai, got into the ring and attacked Shirai, and then put Kai on top of Shirai, but Shirai still kicked out despite the interference. I bought into that. I thought that this was going to be the finish, and Kai was going to win the title from Shirai. But Shirai kicked out, and Kai had to keep fighting Shirai. Shirai then went to the top, dove out to the outside on top of Kai and Gonzalez. Shirai got Kai back into the ring and hit her moonsault to pin Kai and retain the NXT Women's Championship. Hell of a match here between the ladies, I have to say. I was thinking like this was going to be the bathroom break match, and not that it would be bad or anything, but it would be like a lot of the other NXT women's title matches on past takeovers where it kind of just felt like the buffer match between two more important matches. But this match really delivered. It was a really strong match. And a lot of times the women's title match is in like the semi-main, and it just doesn't feel like a big deal. This match felt like a big deal. They tore the house down here. Really strong match from the ladies. And after the match was over, we had the heels, Gonzalez and Kai, beat down the champ. Rhea Ripley made a special appearance, making the save. Had a stare down with Gonzalez, the two tall ladies facing off. A nice little moment here. And then they just ended up fleeing the scene. Gonzalez and Kai took off. George Robbins with a €2 super chat. Thank you very much for that, George. I appreciate it. He left no comment, though. Let's move on here to our main event of the evening. Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross for the NXT World Championship. The big entrance for Karrion Kross, which is badass. You know, it's just one of the coolest entrances in wrestling. Maybe the best entrance in wrestling today. George with another €2 super chat says, Kross's entrance is so good, imagine it with the crowd. Absolutely. That is one of the bummers. Like, man, imagine this entrance with a crowd. Imagine being there at a WWE live event and seeing this entrance. Like, this is Undertaker level how cool this entrance is. Like, it's dare I say, it's got to be like a top 5 entrance of all time. Like, when you think of iconic entrances, like Undertaker's up there, but this is going to be on its way to being an all-time classic entrance, in my opinion. Now, I should note, before the match, there was an advertisement for the return of NXT UK, which returns next month, I believe September 17th. And Tommaso Ciampa's return was advertised for this coming Wednesday's edition of NXT. And before we had the main event, Damian Priest was shown outside celebrating in a hot tub with women and some bubbly. Not sure if it was Chris Jericho's bubbly or not. If it was, he took the label off of it. So anyways, Keith Lee and Karrion Kross, a bit slower paced than the other matches. Still very solid main event here, and it felt more like a main roster main event. You know, it felt like both guys were maybe listening to Randy Orton and trying to slow things down a little bit and make each move count, which makes sense because both of these guys, I suspect, will be top main roster stars sooner than later. Probably Keith Lee sooner. Lee controlled the match early on. Kross retreated to the outside, but then they brawled on the outside, and Kross gained the upper hand. Went back and forth. Kross tried to prevent Lee from doing his power moves, but Lee was able to come back and use his power to stay in the fight. And then Kross hit his Doomsday Suplex, got a near fall, and then he put on the cross jacket submission. Lee was on the verge of passing out. The referee held up the arm, but Lee would not stay down. He fought out of it, managed to get to the rope to break the hold. Lee hit the spirit bomb, which Kross kicked out of, and then Lee climbed the top rope to try and finish off Kross, but Kross stopped him. They both ended up on the top, and then Cross hit the Doomsday Suplex from the top. So a Doomsday Superplex, and scored the victory to end a short title reign of Keith Lee, only champion for about a month and a half. He won it at the Great American Bash, and he has already lost the championship. Adrian with a €2 super chat says the Irish are running wild tonight, Aaron, and he has the sunglasses emoji. Thank you, Adrian, and you're right. A super chat faction, as Adrian points out. Ken terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Ken. He says, do you have a bad feeling that Keith Lee is going to be in a Rhea Ripley type role? It's where he will struggle at getting back his world title. I could see them doing a rematch, but here's the thing. Ciampa's coming back, and I suspect Ciampa's going to be looking for redemption at Karrion Kross, and that's going to be the next program. I think Keith Lee needs to go to the main roster. He's 35, and he's already been in the ring with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. I think he's ready. He's been ready. I think it's time to put him to the main roster. Obviously, it's not ideal when you don't have the big crowds. All you got now is the virtual fans, but I think you got to do it. I think Lee needs to go to the main roster. I think this is it for him. Because with Ciampa getting in the mix, I think it's going to be Ciampa versus Kross, and Lee should not really be downgrading at this point. I think it's main roster time for him. Otherwise, I see no point in him losing the title other than you don't want to cool off Kross right now. And Kross is red hot. Not surprised he won the world title, although I did pick Keith Lee, I believe. Good old JM, Jeff Meacham with a $5 super chat. He says, thank you to all who joined my watch-along and Aaron's stream tonight. Your support is often overwhelming, but always appreciated. Both of us back tomorrow. That is very true. Make sure you guys follow Jeff, twitter.com/_Jeff Meacham. Check out his content. Jeff is busting his ass. Make sure you watch Talk Wrestling and Wrestling Trivia Challenge and Wrestling Rewind and all the other content. Follow him at _Jeff Meacham on Twitter for all the latest. Now, final thoughts on the show. NXT delivered again. Two things could have made it better, and it's out of WWE's hands. One was more Ronaldo not being on the show, and two, obviously not having a real crowd. I think the PC fans did a good job, though, of bringing some energy to the show. So I'm going to give this takeover an A- because I don't think there was any weak match on the show. The kickoff was fine, but I think every main card match delivered. Balor and Thatcher, their opening match, it did what an opening match is supposed to do. Women's title match delivered, main event delivered, ladder match delivered. Everything on the show, I thought, did what it was supposed to do. Cole versus McAfee exceeded expectations. So yeah, A- for this NXT. Couple of things that were out of WWE's control. This could have been one of the best, if not the best takeover. They definitely delivered big time for this show, as they do almost every time without fail. Michael with a $1 super chat. Thank you for that, Michael. I do appreciate it. He now has $401. So there you go as far as the super chat goes. Josh Mansfield says A+ for the ladder match alone. Tyson with an A-. Zach Myers with an A+. Adrian with a B+. George with a B. The Game is On 100 with an A. And Kev with an A-. Amanda with an A-. And Dr. NXT Scorpio with an A-. And Wonka TV with an A-. And Ken gives it a solid A. And Adele Lost H with a $5 super chat says, it's amazing how Lee had the two titles a month ago. Where does he go now? Kudos from Brazil. Thank you very much for the super chat. And yeah, like you said, where does he go now? I think you got to go to the main roster because going for the North American title, is a downgrade. He already won that title and then became world champion. And he could go for the NXT title one more time, but Ciampa's coming back now, and Ciampa has to get back for what happened at the In Your House pay-per-view. So, yeah, it kind of feels like Keith Lee's lost in the shuffle, it seems, because there's really nowhere for him to go. He's overqualified for NXT. I think you got to put him on the main roster. All right, so on that note, let's flip it over. Michael Pollard sent in a $5 super chat, says, "So sorry that super chat for $400 was an accident. Can I take it back? So sorry." Michael, email me, nodqmisc@gmail.com, and I'll take care of it for you. Anyways, let's move on here to AEW. Unfortunately, if it legitimately was a mistake, Michael, I'll take care of it for you. But keep in mind that Google takes a cut out of it, so you might not get back all of your money. But if it was truly a mistake, email me, nodqmisc@gmail.com. Anyways, let's get to AEW Dynamite. I did not catch every single detail of the show, but I was able to catch parts of it. So this is pretty much a recap of everything, but might not be as detailed as usual. We started off the show straight with a match. No big entrances or anything. We just had FTR versus Private Party. And the big story here, of course, Tully Blanchard now managing FTR. He had an FTR jacket. Private Party had a pretty good showing here, but in the end, FTR won with the Goodnight Express. And I think at one point, Tully got involved a little bit, helping out his guys when they were in danger. So he was a difference maker. We then had a promo with Jon Moxley talking about MJF. Said that guys that run their mouths too much, they rub him the wrong way. He said the tough guys don't hide behind their words. And he said he wants to see MJF reach MJF's full potential at All Out. Adrian with a €2 super chat says, "And still your super chat champ, cheers Michael." We had MJF cut a promo, and he was in a backstage area with his campaign team. He said that Moxley's a gutless coward to attack him from behind and hit the paradigm shift. He was wearing a neck brace. He was talking about how his kid, if he has a kid someday, that he won't be able to play with his kid because of what Moxley did to him. We had MJF's lawyer there say that the paradigm shift is a dangerous, possibly deadly move, and he wants the move banned. And apparently they got 5 million signatures to have the move banned, and they want Moxley to sign an agreement that at All Out, the paradigm shift will be banned. And if Moxley doesn't sign this agreement, then he will be sued. Pretty over-the-top segment here. It was goofy. I guess we'll see what the follow-up is with it. Maybe they'll do a stipulation where the move is banned. But this felt very WWE-ish. This felt like an angle that WWE would do with the cheesy lawyer and doing a stipulation like this for the pay-per-view. So yeah, it's a little strange. I mean, MJF does a great job, but this definitely felt like something that WWE would do. We had an 8-man tag team match. We had the Natural Nightmares and Jurassic Express against Butcher, Blade, and Lucha Brothers. And no entrances again for this match. It just went straight to the action. Storyline in this match was the heels were not getting along, and Blade ended up being shoved, and he fell back. Jungle Boy with a schoolboy roll-up pinned Blade. After the match, Blade was pissed off. He got in the face of the Lucha Brothers, And then we had Eddie Kingston come out, cut a promo, talked about how he doesn't want any drama. He said that these two teams are both worthy of being tag team champions. They only got beat because they're divided. They need to work together, and he had everybody hug it out. Looks like we got a new faction. As they all hugged, Eddie gave a little wink to the camera. Good stuff here, and I like what they're doing with Eddie, making him like a mouthpiece for this faction, utilizing him with his promo abilities. Thumbs up. Michael with a $2 super chat says, sorry, what's your email again? It's nodqmisc@gmail.com. And Smithsta with a $5 super chat. I think it's Australian, but I'm not sure. It's an A $5. Thank you for that. He says, was this a Dynamite episode for the heels? You could say that. It was definitely a heel-heavy show here with the factions. But we'll talk about that more here in a few minutes. We had a backstage segment with Britt Baker and Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. And she said she would give them dental care for 1 year if they took out Big Swole. Next up, we had Tony Schiavone interviewing Orange Cassidy. Cassidy came out with the best friends. Orange did not really say anything, but he did not have much time to talk because Chris Jericho came out. He said, Orange Cassidy is a man of few words, therefore he's going to say a few words. He actually congratulated Orange for winning. He said he's only been pinned 3 times in AEW. He's actually proud of Cassidy because Cassidy proved to everybody that he has heart. He proved the doubters wrong. And he wanted to have a toast to Orange Cassidy. But then he wanted to issue a challenge to Orange Cassidy. He proposed a Mimosa Mayhem match. There was a video package, and it's basically the rubber match at All Out, pinfall, submission, or you throw your opponent into a tank of mimosa. And they're gonna pour in orange juice combined with Jericho's bubbly, and you throw your opponent in the tank of mimosa, and you win the match. This feels very WWE. I talked about MJF's promo from earlier. This felt like a WWE style angle, and I'm not going to do predictions yet, but one would think this has to end with somebody going in. Maybe they do a pinfall or submission and then somebody gets thrown in afterwards, but feels like somebody's going to be going into that tank. Like I can't imagine that Jericho doesn't go into that. Inner Circle came out. Jericho asked if Cassidy was accepting the challenge. Cassidy did the thumbs up, accepting the challenge. Inner Circle got in the ring, beat down Cassidy and the best friends, and then Jericho hit the Judas effect and poured bubbly on top of Orange Cassidy. Then we had the Dark Order versus the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. The ladder match for NXT was going on during this. I forgot to mention, Dynamite was delayed about 30 minutes because of the NBA playoffs. It was about 30 minutes before AEW Dynamite debuted, so around 6:30 Eastern time is when Dynamite started. Dynamite technically got no unopposed time because NXT's kickoff started at 6:30 Eastern. So the ladder match was going on, and I mean, let's face it here. Do we really expect 3, 4, and 5, whatever the Dark Order members are, to beat the Elite? Don't think so. They did have a storyline here, though. Omega was frustrated. Elite did pick up the victory, but after the match, Omega attempted to powerbomb one of the Dark Order guys on the chair. Matt pulled the chair away, saying, "Enough is enough. We're not sadistic like this." So a little bit more of a tease for a Kenny Omega heel turn, which is interesting because initially it looked like Paige was going to go heel. Speaking of Paige, it was announced backstage that there would be a gauntlet match on next week's show featuring the top 4 ranked teams in AEW. The winning team will face Paige and Omega at All Out. FTR was chatting with Paige and said that what happened last week was just personal business they had with the Rock and Roll Express. We'll see what happens next week. We got that 4-way tag team gauntlet match. We had Darby Allin pick up a quick victory in an enhancement match. Afterwards, Taz came out and introduced the newest member of Team Taz. He brought out Ricky Starks, who was dressed up as Darby Allin. Starks made fun of Allin, and then all of a sudden, Brian Cage hit the ring, attacked Allin from behind with the championship, the FTW title. Starks got in the ring, cut a promo, said he doesn't need face paint to be somebody. He said that Allin is the biggest joke of them all. And then they hit him with the skateboard, and then Starks did a mock coffin drop onto Allin. Pretty good angle here. I liked it. We had Matt Hardy attack Sammy Guevara by the circle entranceway. And then Matt threw Guevara off the stage, through a table, getting a little bit of payback from a couple of weeks ago. Nice angle here to set up their upcoming match. And then we had the debut of the NWA Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa. I am very happy that AEW brought her in. Going back before the pandemic, when NWA Power was going on, I kept saying AEW should sign Thunder Rosa. I think she has a great look, and they really need some fresh blood in the women's division to shake things up. And she challenged Hikaru Shida to a championship match at All Out, which most people would say under normal circumstances, well, shouldn't she get some wins, since it's all about rankings? But at least they established that she's the NWA Women's Championship, so she already has credibility. They had the title front and center in the promo. I'm fine with her getting this immediate shot, even though she's had no track record in AEW. We had the final match of the women's tournament, the tag team tournament, the Cup. Ivelisse and Diamante versus the Nightmare Sisters. And Eddie Guerrero's daughter, Shaul Guerrero, was doing the ring introductions. Ivelisse and Diamante picked up the win, which probably the right move, because I think if Brandy won this, Twitter would be a firestorm and Brandy would quit Twitter again. So I didn't really pay much attention to it because NXT was holding my attention here. And to be honest with you guys, I haven't watched the other tournament matches, so really wasn't invested in this one. But I think they made the right decision here as far as the team that won the tournament. And then we had our main event match, which was Brody Lee challenging Cody for the TNT Championship. And very interesting turn of events here. Cody's been winning match after match, but this was one-sided, and it was Brody Lee that was dominating. He tossed Cody to the outside of the ring right off the bat, literally just picked him up and threw him over like it was the Royal Rumble. He threw him into the barricade, and then he brought him back into the ring, hit a German suplex, released German, and then hit the discus lariat. In about 2 minutes, he beat Cody. Cody got no offense in this match. This was like the John Cena, Brock Lesnar SummerSlam main event where Lesnar just destroyed Cena and won the match. Imagine this with a crowd. Like, everybody would have been shocked. They cut to Arn Anderson, who did the shocked Undertaker fan reaction. But if they had done this in an arena, like, everybody would have been like, holy shit. They would have done the Undertaker reaction. This was a crazy, unexpected turn of events here to really make Brody Lee a monster once again, perhaps more than ever. I mean, this was definitely a major rebound for Brody after he kind of cooled off in recent weeks. I still am tired of the Dark Order, but Brody, I'm glad he got this win. I'm a little surprised they did this route, but hey, it got people talking, that's for sure. And they did this big angle after the match. Tony Schiavone interviewed Brody, and he said that it was executives like Tony that created this monster. And now this monster is a problem for AEW. Officials came out. They put Cody on a stretcher. They put a neck brace around his neck. They started to carry him away, and then Lee went up by the circle entranceway, and they stopped Cody from being stretchered out. They attacked Arn Anderson, and then Brody tipped over the stretcher, which is one of my favorite heel maneuvers whenever somebody's stretchered out and the heel tips it over. Always a great angle for heat. Tipped over the stretcher. Brandy came out. She shielded her husband, but then Anna Jay, who's part of the Dark Order, she came in and choked out Brandy, and then Brody, or choked out Brandy, yeah. And then Brody took out from a bag the pieces of the old TNT championship, dumped the pieces onto Cody, and then the entire Dark Order celebrated as Dynamite went off the air. Hot angle here to get Brody Lee's career back on track. So very, very strong stuff here from AEW. I'm not going to do a letter grade just because there were a few parts here and there that I missed. Didn't hear a lot of the commentary, but all in all, felt like a very good show with a lot of storyline build-up for All Out and some solid wrestling action. And especially the main event segment was very well done. So good work, AEW. All in all, a very eventful night in wrestling. A lot of fun to watch. We got SummerSlam coming up. I'll be back after SummerSlam to give my thoughts on the biggest party of the summer. And then it's going to be a whole other week of live streaming. We got Payback coming up a week from tomorrow, Sunday. A lot going on. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for the very latest. And tell your friends. Spread the word. Word of mouth goes a long way. I'll see you guys after SummerSlam. Take care, everybody. Stay positive. Be safe. And I'll see you guys next time.